In the slew of generic romances and slice of lives that come out every season, Call of the Night feels like finding diamonds pre 1.17 Minecraft. Usually I watch shit that's recommended to me to satiate my FOMO, but one starry night, after doom scrolling TikTok for way too long, I opened up my legal anime streaming site and clicked one that vaguely looked interesting. And here we are.
Shut up and sit down.
If I had to name the prettiest backgrounds of any anime, it has to be this. I mean, come on, look at it. That purple haze and various neon lights makes it feel like 1980s Tokyo, recreated in the Big 26. I could pause at any time during any episode of this show and hang that up on my wall. And that brings us to this video's sponsor, Display! Just kidding, I don't have a sponsor, and I probably won't with the abysmal amount of views I'm getting. But as I was saying, the aesthetics of Call of the Night are incomparable, and combined with the banger opening and ending song, by the way, the manga was literally inspired by the ending song called Call of the Night by CreepyNuts, you get the source for what could be a masterpiece. But what actually makes a masterpiece? Well, I thought about it for a good 30 seconds while taking a shit, and it ultimately boils down to how emotionally affected I am by it. Frieren inspired me to change my life, to appreciate the time I have, the people around me, and the little things, which can leave a lasting impression. Violet Evergarden, my second favorite anime by the way, took me on a journey of human growth, the consequences of war, and overcoming grief, teaching me that even after losing the most important thing in your life, it's possible to keep living, and find happiness elsewhere. And so, by this criteria, Call of the Night isn't a masterpiece in my book. At least, that's what I thought, until a second season hit my notifications. Call of the Night tricks you. It starts off as a chill rom-com slice of life, but slowly reveals itself to be a psychological drama about identity, regret, and emotional stagnation. But before we delve into that, here's a quick summary. Feel free to skip to this timestamp if you don't want to hear me waffle. Have you ever not been able to fall asleep at night, so you say, fuck it, and go on a night walk? Well, was your reason also because you rejected a girl and now she hates you, which makes you question your entire life and why you're trying so hard to fit into society? Well, that's the case for my boy Ko Yamori, who's feeling a bit rebellious one night and starts roaming the streets of Japan and meets Nazuna, who takes him back to her place and sucks him up. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Who drinks his blood because she's a vampire. And then Ko decides he wants more and vows to turn into a vampire and stay with her. But to do that, he has to fall in love with Nazuna while getting sucked off. Yeah, okay, I give up. But there's just one tiny problem. This motherfucker hasn't unlocked love yet. And thus, we set forth on 13 episodes of Ko discovering what feelings are. The show feels very slice of lifey, since every episode is just Ko and Nazuna hanging out, with some side characters thrown in here and there, like Akira, the childhood friend who gets cucked, as is the status quo. Mahiru, another old friend who doesn't matter at all, so let's just forget I mentioned him. And then we got the Vampire Squad. There's Nico, the ginger, Seri, the Garu, Hatsuka, the femboy, Kabura, the MILF, and Midori, the ugly bastard enjoyer. Now, quick question. Why did they have to make these characters look so bad? But hey, I'm not complaining. But I am gonna bitch about how they were introduced. It looks like the author was just like, this story's kind of bland right now. This won't get featured in Shonen Jump. I wonder what I need to add to... I got it. More vampire baddies! The actual story in Season 1 is almost entirely episodic, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, just look at Frieren. But it feels like not much happens to Ko and Nazuna's dynamic. It's just wacky shenanigans, like casually tackling Japan's toxic work culture, drinking parties, and the stress of life as a working adult, or a random vampire fight with more animation than all of One Punch Man Season 3, or hunting down a pedophile. Okay, now that I think about it, a lot of shit happens, and it's actually pretty interesting. But what I mean is, there's no impetus behind the overarching romance or other characters. Why so many characters? Where is this story going other than a dragged out rent-a-girlfriend-esque romance? Why should I care about these characters? And then it hit. The finale to the first season sets up the first real villain of the show. We see the dark side of vampires, traditionally depicted in fiction, which I did not expect from a vampire harem. I mean, I thought I was just gonna be admiring the art, so to speak. But fuck! The show takes advantage of this and switches up on me like how I be switching up on my day once after I go viral on YouTube.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
In episode 11, we get our first taste of what a threat vampires are, introducing this new dilemma of whether becoming a vampire is as cool as it seems. Up until now, vampires were just hard, quirky night hooligans, but now the show is planting hints that something is deeply wrong underneath. You know shit's getting serious when the color drains from the scene. It's just such a nice way of reflecting the tonal shift in the series, you know? And the cause of this tonal shift is this character right here, Anko, the vampire killer. She is the catalyst for conflict in the story so far, and adds another dimension to it overall. She's mysterious, smart, slightly deranged, and an actual threat to Nazuna. Every time she's on screen, the tension is tangible, growing thicker with every taunt she launches at Ko. Aside from that, the direction of the show in general is amazing as well. I already mentioned how the scene gets bleached whenever Anko is on screen, but also check out this scene where Anko calls ice on Ko and he runs away. The streetlights momentarily frame him as a criminal, making a getaway, like one of those 1900s cartoons, which I thought was pretty cool. This scene where Hatsuga admits that vampires don't know much about themselves, with a background showing the fact that vampires don't have a reflection, making you wonder, why don't they? Actually, let me search that up real quick. Huh, well, that doesn't really apply to the vampires in this show, so...
I guess we'll never know.
And finally, the mirroring of this iconic scene by the vending machine, where Ko sneaks up on Nazuna and ensures her everything will be alright. Then they make out. I mean, this is just such a nice book-ending effect, as in the first episode, we see Nazuna uplift Ko's spirit by showing him the beauty of the night, and now we see Ko reaffirming his ambition to fall in love with her, promising that she won't ever be bored again. Oh, it's just so good, man. But wait, there's more. You read the title of the video, and you may be about ready to click off. Just hang in there, man. This next part is gonna be fire. Let me cook. Let's jump straight to episode 3, where we meet Anko again. Bro, I'm telling you, anytime she's on screen, you know the episode is gonna be straight gas. Anyway, after having a boys' night out at the bathhouse, as you usually do, Anko jumps their asses. There's this character called Akun, which is Seri's offspring from the first season, which I forgot to mention, and she ambushes him, forcing his glasses onto his face and proceeding to shank him multiple times, like it's the streets of London. Now, despite using his heart as a pincushion, the thing doing damage was actually his glasses. Turns out, a personal item from the vampire's human life is one of their weaknesses, and this marks the official turning point from slice of life to psychological thriller. Naturally, the vampire squad calls an emergency meeting and resolves to destroy their personal item. And here's the part where we get some fucking development finally. I've seen a lot of comments about season 1 saying the characters feel bland, especially the side characters who were getting that horror Mia treatment, but at last, there's some actual depth to them now. Take Kabura for example. I deadass didn't even realize she was in season 1 since she got like 3 seconds of screen time. But after episode 5, she went from being a MILF to a mother I wish could find love. Nazuna and Ko go to a hospital to look for clues about Nazuna's past. The atmosphere is unsettling. Dead silence, dim-lit tunnels, a room with warning signs screaming, keep out. Suddenly, footsteps shatter the silence. They follow it, and here's Kabura! Backstory time! Turns out Kabura was neurocompromised when she was a human, and spent the majority of her life in hospital. Because of this, she becomes increasingly more isolated from her friends, only to realize that she had some shit-ass friends who have moved on from her. Having this realization, combined with her frail body, she decides to log off, but meets Nazuna having a smoke on the roof. Except it's not Nazuna because this is Haru, who was the nurse taking care of Kabura all along, and is also a vampire. And seeing Kabura at her wit's end, hating her life as is, and wishing to be free from her chronic suffering, Haru offers the escape she desires. This is shown through a sequence of ethereal scenes. The composition of these shots are amazing. And finally, we loop back to one of the core themes of the show, which is how the night represents freedom, as depicted by Kabura falling from the rooftop through a lake of blood. Here, the lake of blood symbolizes her suffering, and by making it through, she finally gains the freedom she wanted, and can live a life free from her illnesses. But wait, there's more. Everything goes swimmingly for Kabura, until one day Haru dropped the bomb on her that she fell in love with a human and got knocked up. This makes Kabura realize that she wasn't as special as she thought, that she's just another one of Haru's offspring, that she could never be her lover. Haru's kid is Nazuna, if you didn't pick up on that already. And when she dies, she asks Kabura to take care of her, which is kind of brutal if you think about it. It's like Kabura got cucked and now has to take care of the product. So you can imagine how bitter she must feel in this situation. But she is still deeply in love with Haru, and when she sees that Nazuna is the splitting image of her, she reluctantly agrees to raise Nazuna as a favor to Haru. This internal conflict manifests in a sort of love-hate relationship with Nazuna. Kabura is still heartbroken over Haru, but at the same time, she loves her too much to move on, and hence transforms her love into maternal care for Nazuna. In 2 episodes, Call of the Night created an entire character and made me deeply care about her. Hot take, this was better than Dun 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 episode 7, since the story is more in depth and ties into the overall plot better, as it also delineated Nazuna's backstory and revealed the fact that she has no weaknesses. Oh yeah, remember how they were trying to hunt down their personal items from when they were human in order to eliminate their weaknesses? Well, Kabura's backstory also ties beautifully into this plot. Like honestly, Call of the Night is the most underrated anime right now, at the time of writing this. Fuck your Jujutsu Kaisen, fuck your Chainsaw Man, go watch Call of the Night instead. But wait, there's more! This season was honestly the gift that just keeps on giving, because right after that ordeal, we then get another couple backstory episodes, this time focused on Nazuna's childhood. We begin this arc by Nazuna and Ko joining the night school she used to attend. Oh, and Nico's the teacher. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that Nazuna used to have a friend, Kyoko Mejiro. Aside from the initial lesbian undertones, they kick it off as friends, bonding over their love of detective novels. We come to learn that Mejiro has a dysfunctional family life. Her dad is having an affair, and her mom is upset because of it. So Nazuna and Mejiro concoct a plan to basically stalk her father and see if he's actually cheating. But this plan fails, and Nazuna reveals herself as a vampire to Mejiro. And then we get hit with a very familiar motif. Mejiro shows up the next day sullen. Her dad didn't come home the night before, and her mother was too busy molding over this fact to pay attention to her, leading her to believe that her family has officially fallen apart. Feeling abandoned, Mejiro breaks down and asks Nazuna to save her. Nazuna drinks her blood. Mejiro's pain alleviates, and she agrees to hang out with Nazuna the next night. But here's when things veer off track. Usually it's all's well that ends well, like we saw with Akun and Seri, or Haru and Kabura. But in this scene, it's shown that Mejiro isn't a vampire yet, since we can still see her reflection in the mirror. Following this, she gets home, and in a complete turn of events, her dad apologizes for neglecting his family, her mom apologizes for not caring about her, and they celebrate her 18th birthday. Things are going well all of a sudden. Too well. This isn't part of the script. This is the wrong line! Mejiro lights a cigarette for her dad, using the lighter she got him long ago, which he never used because it was too precious to him. But after touching it, something in him just snaps. The color leaves the scene. He drops the lighter and lands a nasty backhand haymaker on his own daughter. His wife comes into the room and he sucks her dry before turning his attention to his daughter. Mejiro, left with no choice, is forced to kill him. This all happens in the span of minutes. Almost like terminal lucidity, Mejiro's life seemed to miraculously fix itself before completely collapsing, for real this time. And at this point, it becomes clear that she turned out to be Anko. This was foreshadowed all along, from her hair color to the fact that she liked detective novels to her clothing choices, and finally, the lighter. But it doesn't take away from its impact, as we are transported back into the present day, where Mejiro prepares for her last stand. It's a bustling Halloween night in Japan, then bang, and another. The vampire squad holds another emergency meeting and concludes they have to run a fade on this motherfucker. But Ko, being the thinker he is, was like,
"Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right,"
and deduces that Mejiro is a fucking idiot. I'm kidding, not really. Basically, Mejiro's Hail Mary was to be killed by vampires, which would raise awareness about their existence, thus causing people to be scared and not go out at night. This would cut off the vampire's blood supply and starve them out. To do this, she taunts Nazuna, shooting her at point blank and threatening to kill Ko. Getting successfully rage baited by this, Nazuna starts throwing hands. Or, I guess, scaffolding in this case. Even after pinning her to the ground, Nazuna doesn't want to kill her first friend, and Ko shows up just in time, much to the dismay of Mejiro, to foil her elaborate suicide attempt. Deep down, Mejiro knew her plan was futile and wanted to die. She had nothing left after her family dissolved, and instead of seeking therapy, She used that anger for the vampire that monsterized her father to stop herself from collapsing mentally, knowing it would be meaningless in the long run, and that her rage was fake, but nonetheless, she let it consume her and extend to all vampires. In the end, she simply wasted her life seeking revenge. But finally, she's tired of it all and is ready to end it the old-fashioned way. Until... So after all that, she couldn't even die. But that's a good thing, obviously. Even though she wasted 10 years, she is still young, and with the help of Ko and Nazuna, attempts to make up for her stunted emotional growth and actually accomplish something. Or at least that's what I think is going to happen in future seasons. Overall, Call of the Night is a truly unique story that seems to be every genre imaginable at this point. What started off as your average slice of life romance quickly morphs into a mystery thriller and shonen. I wouldn't be surprised if the next season is an isekai at this point. But that aside, Season 2 is a masterclass in backstory, contextualizing character relationships while advancing the plot in a way that feels natural. We learn alongside Ko and Asuna about their past, and this season's pivot to a darker tone allows the show to transcend the romance genre and delves into the messy relationships characters deal with, and how they cope with it. Ultimately, it resonated with me the most in the way it explores escapism. Sometimes it works, sometimes it fails horribly. And having personally experienced both outcomes, it just shows what a gamble running away from your problems is, and the slippery slope you could fall down if you're not careful. Now, I know I left out a lot of parts to this season, so I strongly encourage you watch the show if you haven't already. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Sorry if this is a bit rambly, but if you did enjoy and watch this far, then I quite literally love you. Please consider subscribing if you like my stuff, and if you have any anime or manga you would like me to read, then leave a comment and I'll look into it. I read all your comments, by the way. With that said, thanks for watching, and hear me out. Hey guys, I just finished the video. It is 2 AM and I am so fucking tired. I've been editing for like the last 6 hours straight with basically no break. And yeah, I hope it was worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly didn't. This nearly fucking killed me. But yeah, so just want to say that I have uni starting about next week, and that would probably mean that my content will be slowing down even more so than it already is, because I have to actually get used to uni and stuff, you know. I'm kind of shitting myself right now since it's kind of scary, you know, in a new environment. It's gonna be different from high school, so I have to get used to it. So what that means is I will probably not have as much time as I would like making these videos. So yeah, we'll just see how it is. Hopefully I can at least upload once a month. That's the plan. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching and take care.